Today, I will tell you guys about my pro tips for this ranked season in Stumble Guys. I've been playing a lot of ranked lately because it's so much fun, and I've been able to secure tons of points with the pro tips that I will discuss in this video. My goal for the end of the season is to land in the top 100, so without further ado, here's how I'm going to accomplish that goal. In this guide, I will assume two things. One, you already know how to get champion rank consistently. This video is intended for the champion players who want to get a high global ranking but don't know how to do so. Even if you're not a champion, you can still use many of the tips I will discuss to help yourself out, but for this video, I will focus on the highest rank of the game. Secondly, I will assume you have the 3 permanent abilities, Punch, Kick, and Hug at max level. If you don't have these abilities maxed, it will be a lot harder to get kills, which can cut down the time it takes to play a ranked game, and you may leave yourself vulnerable as a result. But if you got those two out of the way, your question becomes, how can I stay alive in champion lobbies to earn points consistently and earn a spot in the top 1000? I'll go over the 4 champion maps one at a time and explain the techniques I use to try and win some points. Let's start with Block Dash Legendary, which needs no introduction. At the beginning of the game, you want to try to keep yourself in the middle for as long as possible. You can go for early kills if you want to, but you need to be extremely careful about going too far away from the middle, because if you're trying to punch someone to a laser in the early game, the odds of someone else rushing to your position and getting you too is extremely high, so don't do it unless you know no one else is close enough to do that same trick to you. Alternatively, if you really want to go for early kills in the map, your best bet is super punching. To do this, you jump forward, and then while holding forward and in the air, press the button and jump a second time to dash. If done correctly, you will send opponents flying into lasers or off the stage, and it's so satisfying to watch. But again, be sure to do it with caution, or else someone else might just super punch you off the stage. When you get to these spiked formations in the map, you can go the normal way, or you can do what's called spike bouncing, where you run towards the spikes and at the very last moment jump. When done correctly, your character will bounce high enough to get you past the obstacles and onto the next wave. You can also use the same technique for TNT, where if you jump right before the explosion, you can blast yourself upwards and forwards to get past certain obstacles and to stay alive in the map. TNT isn't limited to this technique though, as you will see later. You can also jump and dash forwards towards the top of spiked walls to go past them, but sometimes this can send your character flying forwards, and if there's a player ready to punch you, they will do so and kill you. So just keep that in mind when you're getting through the map. Clutching I assume you already know, but if you run into a situation where you know you're gonna fall off and not make it, you can use Kick as you're falling to your death, and then after the Kick animation, do a jump dash in the air. But be careful not to be facing any blocks, because if you do, you will slide down with them and die faster that way. While this guarantees you die anyway, sometimes another player might fall before you do, and you may save yourself some lost ranked points if the eliminated counter went up with their death before yours. Attached on the screen is a points guide for each of the 12 placements, so while the odds are slim, these extra seconds of your character being airborne may be the difference between losing just 35 points and losing 120 points. But the last thing I want to discuss for this map is the easiest way to get kills, and that is with the stair and TNT formation. What you want to do is stay back so you can see the players, and then right when someone is getting on stairs, you dash and land a punch on them, which will send them directly into the lasers with no chance of recovery. Alternatively, if you are on top of the stairs and see the other players trying to stay on, you need to be on the right spot at the perfect time so you can punch them right as the blocks are falling down the stage. They'll most likely die due to the lack of recovery and momentum, which can be beneficial for earning more rank points on this map. You can do this trick with many other formations, but I find the stairs to be the most consistent as there usually isn't another way to get around them besides climbing up. My point is that for easy kills, if you see someone close to the edge of a laser and they have nowhere else to go, try to land that punch so that they hit the laser or fall off the stage afterward. The next map I want to discuss is Rush Hour Legendary. At the beginning, you have two options, which is either to stay put and jump on the next car as it flies to the wall of death, or to rush forward and get a good view of your opponents, while also staying away from the commotion. Either way works, but you want to make sure you're not on the radar of someone else that's trying to kill you, and you want to try to stay away from active fights so you can get better placement for the match, which can help you earn more points. In this map, you'll see people camping the trampolines a lot. This means they will bounce off the same trampoline over and over so that it's harder to land a punch on them. They will also use it to fall on cars with people on them and then land a surprise punch that's difficult to avoid to knock them off the cars. So the key is to watch for falling punches, especially if they're close by. You can also try to knock them off the trampoline, but it can be tricky since you have such a small window to hit them, and odds are they may land on another car or another trampoline and survive that way, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to kill trampoline campers. If you are going to trampoline camp, do know that the level can suddenly speed up, which can cause you to fall into the void instead of a trampoline if you're not cautious. When there's fewer players on the map, you have two options on how you want to go about. The first is just playing the level normally and landing precise jumps to not fall off the cars or get hit by any lasers. It might feel slow, but you can do this if you believe it's only a matter of time before the enemy screws up and falls down themselves. If you don't want to rush the other players or they don't want to go into your car to try to kill you, then you can do this and see if you can outlast the other player trying to jump onto cars and platforms without dying. The other option is to rush them yourself and try to punch them off the car. The other player might do this too, so if you see someone behind you and they look like they're about to go for your car to punch you off, you want to make sure you're off cooldown for your ability so you can pull off this counter attack. When they dash towards your car, they're most likely going to punch you, but if you jump at just the right time, you can dodge the punch, and then you can land your own punch on the other player to knock them off instead. This trick can be a bit difficult to pull off, but it is highly rewarding when you get the correct timing of the jump and the placement of the punch. Now remember when I said that TNT wasn't just useful for bouncing in Block Dash Legendary? It's also useful for killing players on this map if the explosion is timed properly. For this trick, you want to make sure you have players behind you, and you want to let the TNT come to the side of your car. Right when the TNT is about to go out of range from the car you stand on, touch it. This will activate the TNT, and if you get lucky, you can blast the other players off the car behind you and they will fall off the stage. You also want to make sure you stay away from the fire hydrants, since when they go off, the stream might send you flying off the car and off the stage as a result. So be sure to watch for both players and hazards if you want to win this map consistently. I'm going to talk about Laser Tracer Legendary next, but before I do, it's important to understand that Punch sends players flying towards the direction they're hit from, and Kick keeps the player at the same position when they are hit with it after they fly up from the attack. Knowing the difference is key to understanding how to get kills in this map, since the lasers are everywhere, and this map requires much more precision than the other three in order to win. This map is also pretty reliant on memory, since the formation of the lasers is always exactly the same, so once you have memorized the laser formations and their timings, you can win this map by understanding where to go next. And just like Rush Hour Legendary, odds are your opponent screws up and you can get a win without killing anybody. Anyways, onto the map itself. Most of the kills that occur in this map will happen with the green laser walls passing by, and the only way past them is through the opening as shown here. You can also try to jump from the side past them, but if the gap is too narrow, you may hit a laser, so be careful about that. When going for kills, you want to land your punches towards lasers or off the stage, because the knockback may be just enough to kill them. If you use Kick, you want to make sure you don't accidentally kick yourself into a laser, but instead, you want to time it to where the other player won't be able to recover in time before the laser comes and kills them. Occasionally, you will get parts where you need to jump through 2 green laser walls, and if you have good memory and good timing, you can punch the players to a corner where they will have no chance of escaping if they miss the openings and the gaps are too narrow to clutch from the side. Doing this is one of the most consistent ways to get kills on this map because the other player cannot escape at all, regardless of what they do. So I'm sure by this point you've noticed I've directed my attention towards 2 abilities, but I have largely ignored the third one, so let's talk about Hug for a little bit. At max level, this ability has magnetism, so when you use it, players get pulled toward you so that you can have an easier time catching them. For a map that requires precision, Hug is useful if you want to try to mess up another person's navigation and send them jumping onto a laser. It's also useful for when it's just you and one other person in the map, as you can use Hug to catch and drag them into the laser to win the game. Of course, Hug has its risks, and to understand them better, I'm going to go back to Block Dash Legendary for just a bit. Firstly, Hug can leave you vulnerable because if you're trying to drag someone to a laser, another player can wait until both of you are close enough to a laser and then punch to kill both of you. Secondly, you can break out of Hug by taunting, so a lot of times you may drag someone into a laser, but then they use taunt at the last second, and you have no time to switch directions, so you end up running into the laser and dying. If you hug someone while they're in the dashing motion though, they will not be able to use taunt to break out of it, so if that happens, you can slowly drag them to the laser and get a kill that way. Out of the 4 maps in Champion this season, Hug is most effective in 2 of them since if you hug someone and fall off the stage in the other 2, you die first. Speaking of the maps, it's time to talk about the last map, Lava Land Legendary. Just like with the other 3 maps I've discussed, you want to distance yourself from other players so that they don't punch you into the lava. At the start of the match, you can stay on the starting platform and jump off before it sinks down. When going for kills, remember that sometimes, just as the enemy is about to fall into the lava, a platform may appear which saves them. Therefore, you want to make sure you aim your punches away from the center instead of towards the center to minimize the risk, as the platforms usually don't go beyond a certain point away from the center. You can also try punching players into spike vines, since oftentimes they will be bounced into the lava from the spikes, or be left in a state where they can't escape before the lava rises and kills them. Otherwise, the basic concepts of the map apply. The ice tiles are slippery, so try not to land on them while sliding or you may risk sliding off of them and accidentally getting into the lava. Green tiles slow your movement and you take less knockback if you get punched, but don't stay on them too long because it can be hard to get off of them. This map also has trampolines, and you can camp them, but it's even riskier since the trampolines stay in one position until they sink back down, and if multiple people are trying to use the same trampoline, there will be punches thrown to knock them off and into the lava, so be careful about doing this strategy. Otherwise, you may also want to watch for falling punches if a trampoline is close to sinking. Also remember that the polka dot tiles will send you flying away from the direction the dots are facing, as seen here. You get about half a second after landing on them to jump so that you can go higher and onto safer places in the map. Additionally, there's the wind tiles that release a gust of wind upwards for a few seconds before it goes back to being a standard tile. You want to make sure you have a safe area to land on after using them, away from players that may be trying to kill you. As for the tiles that crack when you touch them, remember that it takes 3 seconds for them to disappear after you step on them, so be sure to keep that in mind. If you're on ability cooldown, you want to try to distance yourself after stepping on them until you're off cooldown, in which case you can go to their tile and punch them off to win the game. Now for this last piece of advice, I suggest you don't try it at home unless you want everyone to absolutely hate you. Team. Yep, teaming is allowed in ranked mode, and it's even encouraged because of the daily friends bonuses. You get 3 per day, and as long as someone in your friends list is in the same ranked lobby as you will get the bonus points. Many ranked players will constantly try to team with their friends by killing everyone else, and then they die after they killed everyone, letting their friend get the most points. For an individual player, this ruins the integrity of rank because it's based on who has the better friends and not the better skill. There's a realistic chance you will encounter these cheats, and all you can try to do is try to beat the cheater. If you stay consistent in farming, you can earn a couple of thousand points per day, and by the end of the season, you will have a high global ranking. Remember that the top 200 ranked players earn extra rewards, such as ability keys, tokens, and gems. The top 20 earn special W's and colors depending on their placement, and if you have Discord, the number 1 player with Discord linked earns an extra W and permanent bragging rights. Therefore, the competition for those top spots is fierce, and it will require hundreds of hours to achieve that coveted rank 1 spot. To those that are farming rank this season, or a future season, I wish the best of luck to all of you. Anyways, that's it for this video. What is the best tip you learned from this video? Are there any tips and tricks that I missed? Leave a comment down below and I'll try to read as many of them as I can. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, join my Discord server with the link in the description, and I will see you all in the next one.